Hi there, welcome back to a new video.
Yeah, good morning.
It's a chatty one today.
Yeah, what are we chatting about?
We are going to talk about itinerary planning and how we plan our Orlando trips.
Okay, and just before we start, if you're new here, welcome. If you don't subscribe, please hit that subscribe button. Yeah, we're Ade and Lisa, and hope you enjoy it, and please check out our other videos as well on the channel. So
we do love our Orlando trips, don't we?
Yes, and for those of you who aren't aware, we are ramping up for a trip that is coming up very, very soon.
It's quite a big trip as well, isn't it?
It is, yes, yeah.
If you haven't seen our previous big family trip, we did our first big family trip back in 2022. I'll leave a link to that series below. It was quite a popular one. Lots of you really loved the whole family vibe. We had lots of family who had never been to the States even before. We're going with all them again, so it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, it was nice actually, because it was a little bit different from our previous trips where it's either just been our family or the two of us.
Yeah.
So it was good to do that, and also a great experience as well, because for first timers it's such a nice way to see things through people's eyes that have never been before. So that was exciting. So.
Very exciting.
And we're doing it again.
Yeah.
Is that a good or bad thing?
I'm so excited. I'm even more excited this time because the last trip was just one of the best trips we've ever had. So I hope it goes as well this time.
What I think I would say though, and I think this has been something we've learned from previous trips as well, you have a great trip, and also we want this one to be just as great, if not better, but try not to, I guess the thing is, try not to think, oh, we did this time, so we do this. Just go with it and enjoy what you do.
I'm hoping it's going to be better because
everyone kind of knows what's what, don't they?
Yeah. And I guess this all kind of falls into the trip planning as well. I've been left to plan the trip, and also just to say that I know planning a trip isn't down to everyone. For example, my brother-in-law that's going with us, he grew up going to Orlando as a family. They never planned their trips.
No.
They are the kind of family that would wake up in the morning and discuss over breakfast, what are we doing today? Whereas we are the type of family that will be at the park at 7 o'clock in the morning before rope drop, because we don't want the heat and the crowds. So we are planners.
Or if there's something a plan for the evening, that would then be our plan for what we're doing. But I also think things have changed over the years. The parks have got busier.
That's very
true. So you think when you're talking about when you went, that's probably 20 years ago at least.
Yeah, that's very true.
So
longer.
You could probably, you could still now just turn up,
the
couldn't
heat's
you?
still the same though.
Yeah, exactly. I think with us though, and the plan in the itinerary, I know it's something that you're really the one that kind of does most of that, but we obviously do have our planning sessions. I think through the trips where we had a little break due to obviously the big changes in the world, when we got back into it, we kind of didn't get back into the planning straight away. So this has been really nice to actually start to plan a trip how we used to.
I also think though, because for quite a few trips it was like, are we actually going to go? And do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So initially we were holding on, thinking, we've got this trip, and
we want to jinx it.
We were thinking, we got these plans, and then I think as we realised things were going on longer and longer, we kind of just didn't sort of think about it or bother too much.
And we also did quite a few trips in a short space of time because there was cancelled trips that all then got backed up. So it was just all a bit manic. But I feel like we're back to planning how we used to.
And most of them were just the two of us, so we could kind of please ourselves. I think that's the other different thing is when you've got a large group, I think it does require a little bit more thought. One thing I would say as well, that although we have an itinerary, it doesn't mean we stick exactly to it, do we?
All.
You've got to have that flexibility. We had it before on one trip that the weather really impacts things in Florida, depending on what year you go. One, it can be the heat, could be the rain, the storms, whatever. But I remember one time, it was in August when we stayed at the Grove.
Oh yes.
And the rain, you do get the...
it was a July trip.
And we just got rain in the afternoon, but it wasn't typical of like a quick 30-minute downpour and then it cleared up. It seemed to go on for hours some days. So
yeah, we had a very wet trip.
So you kind of realise, okay, we had these plans, but we can't do that. That's okay. We don't get hung up on it. It's not like this is the be-all and end-all. So I just want to...
We started using ponchos.
Exactly, yeah. So it's great to have the plans. For us, it helps us because then we have an idea. But we will change them. If we don't feel like it, we won't do it.
Another thing as well, because we're annual pass holders, we still have to make park reservations as well.
Yes.
So that does come into it as well.
Yeah, so we've had to kind of plan our days, whereas I don't think... No, you don't have to do it. No one else has to do it. It's just pass holders, isn't it?
Yeah. I also wanted to say as well, the other benefits of planning a trip is, one, you can kind of like get a little idea of how busy the parks are going to be, and you can plan around that. You can also plan around the hot days. We're going August, so it's going to be hot.
I also think the other thing for us on our plans, and I don't know which is the best way round to say this, but where we stay also,
that's
not
true.
that affect changes maybe what we do.
Yeah.
So it could be if we're staying off site, or if we're staying on site, and maybe we're staying at a particular resort. Let's say we were staying on the monorail. It could well be they're the times we decide to do more Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
There's lots of, for us, different pieces that kind of fit all together to basically try and make the trip quite easy.
And also as well, we are going to be going to Universal, and so we've got like a Universal hotel, so that comes into it as well. We've got some other things off site that we want to do, so we need to buy tickets for those, and those are all dated. We still haven't done that at this stage. Decisions still haven't been made, but again, so all that needs to come in, and they're big decisions to make, so you do need an itinerary.
Yeah, I know not everyone does, and that's fine. For us, this is how it works.
So we were just going to chat about how we plan our itinerary and just share some little tips and the best things to kind of like work out where you're going to go on what days.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things though, and I think this is a tip that we've mentioned this before as well, but always have to mention it, is the fact from our friend Debbie, and splitting your day into threes. That really has been a game changer.
I agree with that.
So your morning, your afternoon, your evening. Again, doesn't have to be exact, but almost you've given yourself something like, I guess, to do for each part of those days. Of course, if you've got a whole day out, you've got a whole day out. But it could mean that if your evening activity is really late, the following morning, it could be to have some relaxing pool time or go shopping. But splitting them out into threes, I think it means you can then... You almost feel like you do more as well, don't you?
Yeah, that's really interesting.
But without getting so tired.
But you have your downtime as well.
Yeah.
But the family said that as well. They were surprised with how much we packed in, but it didn't feel crazy.
Whereas I think if you were to do... I'm trying to think if we actually done a park ever, rope drop to close.
No.
No, I don't think we have. That to me sounds...
Has anyone else? Have you done that before?
There probably will be people.
Ben, our brother-in-law, said that that's how they used to do it. They used to stay off site, International Drive, and they would do one park a day. Yeah, exactly what you just said.
I could see one way of doing that. I could see by going into the parks in the morning, let's say Magic Kingdom, and then maybe getting the boat over to
break up the day, you mean?
To Wilderness Lodge, maybe to go and grab some lunch, get out of all the busyness, get some decent aircon, get some food, and then come back again. But again, you've split that day up.
Yeah.
So for us, that is a real big thing. And also, when it is really hot out there, you need that downtime. I don't think I could, if I did a whole day in the park, I think my next day, I'd need to be doing something kind of quite quiet.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think as well, when it comes to planning a trip, it's very interesting to work out when it comes to planning what works best for you. I know I am a very visual person. I like to see things rather than just read things. So for me, this is the way that I do it, and it works best for me. I've got this A3 board. I think we bought these from The Works, didn't we?
No, I got this off Amazon.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Off Amazon. And I printed off just a free printable for the month. And then this is from a previous trip that I'm sharing with you. It's a nice completed one. Ours is not quite ready yet. And then I use little post-its so that I can make notes underneath. Sometimes I will put like park hours underneath, but also then if we change things, I can remove them. And they are always split into threes.
And you colour code them as well. So what are the colour codes?
So I've got our days at Disney, I've got our days in the villa, and then I've got our days at Universal.
So the colours for us are where we're actually staying then.
It's just, again, because I'm such a visual person, it breaks it up.
It is though, isn't it? So for example, the pink is we are actually staying on site.
Yes.
So it's an easy thing to see then, that when you have a quick glance at it, exactly where you are.
And I've got all my previous years
as well.
I really like them. They make me happy. I love seeing this just on the side in my workspace. And yeah, it just really makes me happy.
So I'm just trying to think about it. When we did start to put together for this trip here,
yes.
I guess there's a few things I guess we kind of think of and consider. And I think it depends on how long your trip is, what you're doing. For example, this time we're doing Universal. Well, this is the first time we've done Universal since June 22.
Yep.
So we're really looking forward to that. But previously, we just park-wise just did Disney, didn't we? We didn't do anything else on the big family trip.
No. Oh, we even got our San Francisco
have
one there. Look, 2019.
So I think where we start with this is, for example, if we know we're staying on site,
yes.
we kind of feel, well, okay, let's make the most of the parks. Is that kind of our thought process on this? Because we are there, and depending on where we stay, that kind of like has a bit of a start for 10. And we also like to make a note of how many times we may well have been in that park.
I'll go into that in just a minute.
Okay.
The first thing I'm going to say, which is really, really important when you're planning your itinerary, is to have a look what events are on. Because it's not worth planning a whole day in Magic Kingdom and then finding out that there's a Mickey's Not So Scary party in the evening.
That's very, very true.
Because the park closes at 6. So the first thing you need to do is actually find out your park hours. For example, when we're going, Animal Kingdom is only open till 6 in the evening. So again, it's just familiarising yourself with park hours and sort of like events and things going on.
Now, how far in advance do they generally release things like the park hours?
It's not that far in advance.
That's what I was going to say. So just be aware of things like that, because you might look at the current hours and it could be different for your trip.
They do change. Right, I'm going to give you a top tip. Get yourselves onto touringplans.com. I'll leave the link down below. I've been using that. I think 2010 I first found that place and I started using it. But the good thing with that, you've got all the park hours on there. It does cost a little bit of money. You can get the free version, but you don't get all the really valuable information. But I think it's about $16, $17 for the whole year. But you get notifications when there are park hours changing.
Okay.
So it estimates them. But then I started getting notifications like when the Animal Kingdom hours were changing from 8 till 6. I'm just going to have a look actually. And the other thing is use the My Disney Experience
I was just about
app.
to say that because, and I'm not talking about Genie Plus here, but isn't Genie, Disney bought out on the My Disney Experience a similar app that you can actually plan your days?
Yeah.
So they almost have a similar thing to what Touring Plans, and I'm sure other places do as well. So you can actually put into the My Disney Experience. We haven't really used it. I've had a bit of a play around with it. But you can put in what kind of things you want to do, whether you like the rides, whether you like the shows, and it can plan your day.
That's true. It can
so
plan
have
your
a
day.
look on the My Disney Experience as well, because that also has and I'm sure it is Genie. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Not Genie Plus, but I'm sure they call it Genie. I could be wrong. This is going back from our last trip, so I did have a look at it, and it did actually it can kind of plan your day out.
And Touring Plans will do the same. You can put in what you want based if you've got like younger kids or if you've got thrill seekers, and it can do, we've used it before when the kids were younger.
Yeah.
And what I really like about Touring Plans as well is that you can have a look at the dates, and again it estimates how busy the parks are going to be based on previous years, and you can go back over previous years and have a look. You can see how busy they predicted it to be and how busy the parks actually were.
This is what I was going to say. I'm sure people listening say, well, how accurate is that? And you've just said that, and I remember that you've actually gone on afterwards.
I like things like that.
You know when there's been a day that's been really busy or been really quiet, and you've actually gone back and checked to see what it actually said it was. And it has to. It's actually pretty spot on. So not to say it will be exactly accurate. Things change, but definitely take a look at Touring Plans.
You've also got to take into consideration with Universal as well, especially like this time of year, you've got Horror Nights coming up. And again, Universal Park itself, I think it closes at 5 o'clock. I might be wrong. So again, keep that in mind if you're going to stay over at Universal. Keep that in mind, because also then it's only Islands of Adventure that's open in the evening, so that could be busier. So there's lots of things like that.
I just want to talk about that actually. You spoke about Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party and the park closing at
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. We have actually found that, and again, the times we've done it, it's worked out really well. We knew it was closing. We weren't staying on for the Halloween party. We actually found the parks to actually be during the day.
I was just going to say this actually.
We found them quieter. I think there's a lot of people, and again, maybe it's the people that think, right, we're only here for a few days, or we're going to do one park.
People buying the day tickets.
That we're not going to go in. So we have found out. So maybe a little bit of a tip there is, if you're not looking to stay the whole day and you know that you've got to be out by 6, it could be worth having a look, because we found it in our experience to generally be quiet, and we've done it quite a few times, haven't we?
I was going to say, if you go onto touring plans, Magic Kingdom, on the days that we're there, it gives it a score from 1 to 10, 1 being the quietest. The days that we're there, on the Mickey's Not So Scary days, the Magic Kingdom is a 2 during the day.
Now, on the flip side of that though, it means then that if you're wanting to see Happily Ever After, there's obviously less times to see it, which we have also then found that generally it can get busier
on
as
the
well.
Happily Ever After
so
nights.
Again, this obviously is only if you're going this time of year. I don't know if it's similar at Christmas time.
What with the Christmas parties?
Yeah.
I would have thought so.
So just bear that in mind as well. If you want to see Happily Ever After, just be aware the parks could probably be busier than what maybe they would be, because there's only, how many Happily Ever After there generally during the week? There's only a few, aren't there, now, when Halloween's on?
I don't know, actually. That's a good question. Is there 4 Halloween parties?
A
or
week,
is it 3?
I can't remember.
I don't know, 3 or 4.
But just bear in mind on that one, with if you're wanting to see Happily Ever After, a normal day, there's obviously only a few of them during the week. So,
because I know, like my sister, they did a trip in 2012, and I did print off all the dates and the times of everything, and she was just going along with the family, and they went to Magic Kingdom expecting it to be there all day, all evening, and they didn't actually get to see the fireworks on any of their trip because
of Halloween party.
Yeah, so it happens, unfortunately. People aren't aware. So again, it's about just planning and finding out the information. There's other things to take into consideration as well. Things like when we're going out, we've got the Food and Wine Festival. Now, that can get really busy on Friday and Saturday nights, because obviously you've got locals, especially at the start when it first opens. So bear that in mind as well. If you're wanting a really chilled evening with your family, Friday and Saturday nights might not be the best nights to do that.
Yeah, and we've seen it busy, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, it can get a bit drinky as well if it's not your thing.
Yeah.
And don't forget, if you're staying at a deluxe resort, that's a Disney deluxe resort, you do get 2 extra, they're called extended evening hours a week. You get Epcot and Magic Kingdom, and they open 2 hours after closing, and they've just started introducing Hollywood Studios as well.
Have they? Oh, okay.
I think it's from the 25th of September.
I think Hollywood Studios was one when... Was it one when we were there before?
No.
Perhaps it was just later open in general.
They do the evening,
okay.
the ones where you pay for.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, so keep that in mind as well. They're worth doing. If you can do them, we've got on. I think the most we've done is 13 rides in the 2 hours. I'll include the link, actually.
We did that on 2 trips. We did that on 2 trips, and we tried to beat our second one, and we did. Was it 13 we did? So
we've realised though that It's a Small World and Haunted Mansion are very long rides.
Take an eternity.
Yeah, they're not good ones to do on the challenge.
Even when there's no queue.
Yes. They're long rides. Teacups. You can do that over and over. Barnstormer.
Dumbo, get all those done.
It was really good fun.
So what are we going to talk about now? We've spoken about obviously like splitting our days up. Obviously one thing you have to remember when you're on holiday, you need to eat as well. So that then something else we kind of take into consideration as well about how we sort of plan. Now, a lot of people, us included as well, love the Disney restaurants. Obviously there's off-site as well, but you have to consider that if you've got a reservation for example, let's say you're at
Yeah.
Garden Grill or you're at, I'm trying to think of some of the other places, Ohana's, that will obviously be a time and a reservation. So that has to take into account your plans for that day as well.
Yeah.
And also what time you're able to get that reservation, because you can't always just say, yeah, I want to be there at 6. I want to have the table at 8. You just have to, because it's busy, you basically have to take what there is available. You might get lucky the time you want, but that has to be a consideration. I think our last trip we had one for, was it Steakhouse 71 or somewhere else, and it was like an 11:30, but we wanted to be, I think it was Hollywood Studios maybe that morning, and it just didn't really work out. So when it comes to food, that's something was there anything else you were going to say?
Well,
on
I was
that?
also going to say as well, especially if you're staying on site at Disney, you can, when it comes to the 60-day opening, we did a video about this as well actually, with meals and ADRs and things, the advanced dining reservations. I'll leave the link to that video below. You can book your 60 days, but if you're staying on site, you can then book up to 10 days ahead. So that can also have an impact, because it might be that you're thinking, right, okay, we are going to do Crystal Palace on the first morning of our trip, but it could be that's already taken, but you can maybe get it later on in the trip.
A few days time.
Because there's a bit more availability.
Yeah.
So that can affect so I kind of like do a rough itinerary, get our meals at 60 days, our dining reservations, and then I can plan the itinerary a bit more firmer after that. I kind of like do it in stages. I find that works really well.
I think with that as well, we kind of now, we do the reservations that we kind of feel that we really want to do, because we just want to try as much different type of things, and there's always new food like in the parks, and whether it be quick serves or anything else. And also when it's really hot, we find we don't really eat as much as we would normally, and the idea sometimes of then in that heat then thinking of going and have a full meal 2 o'clock in the afternoon, sometimes you then feel,
yeah, that's true.
so that's the other consideration as well. But yeah, I think is there
I
much?
was going to say, we do though also plan our off-site meals as well.
Yes.
I have little tickets that I put down here as well, because it's really important to us. We want to get our Texas Roadhouse in. We want our IHOPs. We want to take the
Cracker
family.
Barrel.
Yep. My sister hasn't been to Cracker Barrel before, so she really wants to go there. Steak and Shake, we really want to take them there. So we do also plan those kind of meals. For example, not this trip because Animal Kingdom isn't open late, but if you are in Animal Kingdom for the evening, you're right near the 192. There's a good shortcut through on Sherberth Road, which brings you right out by IHOP on the 192. That is the perfect time then to go off and do your 192 restaurants, isn't it? Because you're in that area. Grab a little gift shop afterwards to walk your dinner off. So that again kind of builds your itinerary.
So we've kind of done that before, haven't we, where we've been in the park and then gone off that way, whether it be we've been staying on site or off site.
Yeah.
In actual fact, where we stayed last time, it was really good location for things like Animal Kingdom, wasn't it?
Yeah, very.
So,
9 minutes, I think, door to car park. Yeah, really fast. That's very true. But yeah, so we do add our food onto here as well,
like our off-site, but we don't necessarily say when we're necessarily gonna go. I know there are some that are on here at the moment, but so again, bit of a plan. But
see, this evening we've got, after Animal Kingdom actually, so we're going to go for an early dinner. We had Texas Roadhouse, Target and Tat. So you go to Texas Roadhouse, then on to Target for your wander, and then wander around the Tat stores looking at all the cheap merch.
I'll just stay in Target.
I love a Tat store. We also put our downtime on here. I think that's very important. But we also have days as well where there's nothing. We have a couple of days of those, so we can move, especially towards the end of the trip. I think if there's things, might be that you want to go shopping. It might be that you wish you'd maybe spent more time in a certain park. So you can go back.
It's time to go back again.
Pool days I've got on here, like we're not doing water parks, but the family are, so we've got their water parks down. I was also going to say of something else which I thought about. I can't remember.
One thing I was going to say, that with seeing this here and me looking at this, and we've done this for so many trips now, or you've put it together, or between the two of us, but it's really your brainchild, isn't it? You're the one who's the expert really in this. I have to say that it never feels like it's regimented, because a lot of people look at this and it almost looks like it's very just completely organised and on a particular timescale and this and that.
No spontaneousness when you're on holiday.
It never ever feels that way. It does feel spontaneous. On the flip side of it, we have had a couple of occasions when we've not been sure on plans, and then we've ended up wasting so much time as well, and we've realised, why don't we just do that? So I have to say, although this looks really like strict, it isn't. It just works.
And we do jiggle things around.
Yeah, and sometimes we've done it before, that if we're really having a nice time, we'll stay there. We've done it before. I think it was Magic Kingdom over at Tom Sawyer's Island, and we were just relaxing there. We decided to stay. We've done it before where we've cancelled our plans that we've had later in that day. So it's just being flexible. Yeah. And if you're having a good time, carry on. If it means that you're not going to go and do what you've got written down in your itinerary, that's fine. So, yeah.
I do also have one. I keep my, I like to keep all my plans in a notebook. I do this every single trip and I have everything in here. It really helps with the planning, and I start off with, like, I list everything that we've booked and everything. I also put the itinerary into here as well. I've made that mistake before where this is great, but it's hung on the wall, and then we've gone on holiday. And I haven't actually got it with me. I think one year your parents had to take a photograph to send because I didn't have a clue what we'd got planned.
Quite often we do take a photo. It might be you've got an old photo or something like that. Yeah. So, we will always take a photo of it. But
yeah, the last time, this was when we went out with the family, I actually put it all into my book. So I have my book with me all the time. And I've also got on here, for example, like Epcot fireworks, 9 p.m. So we knew when they were. They have caught us by surprise, although we always think they're at 9. One year we went, I don't know why, but they were really early, weren't they?
Yeah.
I don't know why. But we also, here, I also have wish lists as well. Is
this all to do with the itinerary still, about things we'd like to do?
Yeah, so like my sister never went to Animal Kingdom Lodge or Wilderness Lodge.
Okay.
So these are on the wish list. There's a few things that we would like to do that they haven't done. I think although this is going to be our 13th trip together, it's going to be a year with lots of firsts that we haven't done before. Okay. So we've got some things that we haven't done for a very long time. I'd like to do the hire a boat from the Grand Floridian. We haven't done that since 2017.
You can get them from the other resorts as well. It doesn't just have to be Grand Floridian.
That one. But yeah, there's lots of wish lists. There's some other things on here. One thing that we haven't got a few things on the itinerary that we've been talking about. NASA is one of them.
Yeah, that's one of them, isn't it? Clearwater possibly.
Particularly bothered, but I know the others do.
Last trip we did Anna Maria Island, which we loved.
Yeah, my mum's actually planning to go there when we're going to Universal.
But maybe doing something different, so possibly Clearwater, so we've got the thinking of NASA.
Yeah, I was going to ask...
So, yeah, go on.
I was going to say, NASA, what's your thoughts on NASA? Should we or shouldn't we? You went in 2017 with your family. No, 2007. You had a day there with your family, and I went to Gatorland with my dad and the kids. I'm not fussed about going back to Gatorland, but we are toying. We've got 2 free tickets to go to NASA. Just in case you weren't aware, we became independent travel agents a few months ago, and there's so many different things you can do. You can do different training with different companies. For example, we've got half-price Universal tickets. We are so thrilled, which is why we haven't been back to Universal for quite some time, but to keep the budget down. So this year
we've done it,
and we've got an amazing discount on the hotels as well. We've already been able to book my sister's hotel for her, so she's got an amazing deal. So yeah, we've got these 2 free tickets for NASA, and we're thinking, should we or shouldn't we?
It's undecided at the moment. I think it's because it would be most likely more or less a whole day.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. It will be good, but it's looking at what we're already doing, and we don't want to feel like we're just ticking things off a list. That was also something else I was going to say about this. is the fact of, if you end up not doing something that's on here, don't stress about it, because there's nothing worse than feeling, oh, I really wish we'd done that. Just think, oh, I'm glad I've done this instead. And that's the kind of feeling we're having like with NASA, because at the moment it feels like it is a whole day. So it's a case of, do we want to do that because it means then maybe we don't do something else?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So that's the kind of decision. So
I need to book it though, and I'd like to book the family. I think my mum would really like to go. By the way, if any of you are interested in becoming an independent travel agent, you can just do it for yourselves as well. That's how we started out last year, just booking for our own savings. You're not tied into anything. Leave me a comment below and or email me. I'll leave our email address and I can share more details. But yeah, so that's opened up. We've also got like tickets for Wild Florida as well, half price tickets. So we've thought about doing the airboats. We did Wild Florida back in 2017. We weren't overly fast. We didn't do the airboats. We did a sloth encounter, which we actually really enjoyed.
Yeah, that was really nice.
So we're just thinking maybe we might enjoy it a bit more this time. We'd like to do the airboats. So we've got some things that we're kind of like weighing up.
There's also some things we did in the past as well that I'd love to do again, like when we did the kayaking at Silver Springs.
Oh, I loved that.
That was brilliant. But we did that. Well, what was that?
That was also
manatee.
also manatee season. So we got to see the manatees,
whereas
it isn't now.
But because we did that on a recent trip, I think it's a case of we probably wouldn't do it on this trip. Maybe the next one. So it's like you said, there's some firsts or some things we haven't done for a long time. So it's exciting. It's nice to have those kind of choices and decisions. Oh, what should we do?
I thought of something else you need to plan around as well. Epcot, in case you aren't aware, have concerts in the evenings.
Oh, yes.
So for the time of year we're going, it's called Eat to the Beat. It's the Food and Wine Festival.
It'd be Garden Rocks when it's the flower. Is it Garden Rocks?
Garden Rocks is, during the flower.
During the flower, flower and thingy festival.
So I will leave a link to the lineup down below. It's really, really worth checking out. You get some great bands. Who have we seen in the past? Billy Ocean.
Journey.
Hanson.
I don't know who else we've seen.
We've seen bands that we wouldn't have known who they are, and then they're absolutely amazing.
That's the other thing as well. You may not think that you may not know them, and they may not be massive, but they're amazing. Like also in Canada when we saw Rafi.
Oh yeah, she was so good. She was my favourite I've ever seen actually.
So Rafi's French Canadian, isn't she?
Oh, she got everyone up dancing.
She was amazing. Around in Canada, so it's not part of the.
She sang in French some of it, didn't she?
Yeah, and it was amazing. I think she's there quite a bit actually.
Is she?
So I think so.
Oh my goodness, I'd love to see her again.
I have to find out actually if she's actually there when we're there again.
But that has the Eat to the Beat lineup has actually dictated some of our evenings.
Well, we know who is there now whilst we're there this time.
And we're very, very excited, aren't we? Somebody I have been wanting to see since I was 13.
And she's often there at a different time than we've ever been before, but we saw it when the dates got released and you're really excited, aren't you?
I'm so excited, yes. But
Is that about it in regards to sort of talking our itinerary? So we like it because it works for us, because we have a plan. It helps us know that also we've kind of like split things out so that we know that we've just not done all one park or all done this or done something else. But also we enjoy doing it on the build-up. It actually it's exciting. So for us, it's actually the excitement and the build-up of the trip. And I think that's what we've missed the last couple of times. So I'm glad we're back into sort of doing this again.
But I really recommend doing it. And I know this kind of way isn't for everybody. Lee and Nick, our friends, the Lodge guys, they do theirs I can't say the word digitally, don't they?
Yeah.
So everyone has their own different way of doing it. We'd love to hear from you. How do you plan your trips?
And also, how do you decide what you do? Because I think even if you're going as a small family unit, I think especially if you've got maybe children that are getting older, that have their own thoughts and opinions on what they'd like to do and what they'd not like to do, How do
Are you speaking from experience?
I know. How do you manage that? So yeah, interested here. So please, yeah, leave your comments below.
I was going to say actually one last one. I've just noticed this one. I also do this. I have a little tick off, a little tally chart. MK AM, Epcot AM, Hollywood Studios AM, and AK AM, and then I have the evening ones as well, and then I do a tally chart so I can make sure that we're in every park in the mornings and the evenings as well, because also we want to make sure that we get our Epcot visits in the morning, because we want to go on Guardians a few times.
Oh, I think that's actually made me remember about another trip, and it doesn't happen all the time, but it's have a check to see if any of the parks are having any either work done. I mean, obviously we know recently Splash Mountain had been closed, obviously China's is now open. The main one I remember is a few years ago when Hollywood Studios had quite a lot of work going on. I think we counted it, wasn't there like only four of the main attractions that were actually open. So of course we knew that, okay, we wouldn't necessarily be spending as much time there. We loved it actually, it was our favourite park that trip.
Yeah, it's quiet.
But that's the other thing to maybe look at as well, to see exactly what may well be closed. So I think there's a couple of things that are closed whilst... Are there a couple of things closed?
Yeah, I think Peter Pan's just closed, hasn't it?
Yes, and I'm sure there was another. So check on those things as well, because that can also change things. Especially if you're only going to the parks for maybe a few days. I know some people just visit literally 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
just do your research on that one as well, because you'd hate to be disappointed. And
But I think number one tip, go and have a look at touring plans and be aware of park hours and any special events that are going on. I think that is so important, because it can really screw up your day, can't it?
Yeah,
if you're not aware of certain things. But I think that's it. But we'd love to hear from you how you plan your trips. Do you wing it? Do you plan like us? Or do you just kind of go in the middle, kind of know what you're doing and just go from there? We'd like to hear, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
And also, yeah, we're ramping up to our trip now. Lots of you have asked for a packing video, so we are going to be planning one of those.
I think that's going to be a little bit of a maybe packing stroke, how we plan our packing. What does that say?
I don't know.
No, I guess what I mean by that, we both write our lists, don't we?
Yes.
About what we need. I think in the past, because we're always so busy, it's just, again, needing to be prepared, isn't it?
So I think this weekend we're packing, so we'll be filming that for you. But if there are any other videos that you would like to see leading up to the trip, please do ask, or any questions that you have, let us know. Yeah? You done?
Yes.
Thank you very much for watching.
Thank you for watching.
I've really enjoyed this.
Yeah.
It's made me really excited. I agree with you. All this just leads to the excitement leading up to the trip.
Yeah, exactly.
It really does. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you next week.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.